Alright, welcome to my evening charting session where I'll be going over what my levels for tomorrow and what I'm looking for the upcoming session tomorrow, April 16th. The current date is April 15th, and I will be doing little charting session. So let's begin. I always start with the TPO and the time price opportunities. This is one of my favorite charts to use for getting a higher time frame read. Just because it's so valuable in what you can take from it. And a lot of my concepts are things that I've taken and reutilized and made it my own from he was actually the head futures trader at SMB Capital, Merritt Black. He's a pretty cool guy. I'm not part of his mentorship or anything, but I've seen a lot of what he does, and I kind of repurpose it as my own strategy and have used it to create an edge for myself. But let's start with this. So I'm going to put this here and that there. We'll be starting with ES, as usual. Yeah, this is ES. I'm going to get rid of all of these guys. Close this. And let's start this. Let's go on a larger time frame on ES, but yeah, it should be good. Alright, so today we had a huge sell-off. I was anticipating shorts off of a level I don't have now, but it was a level over here. It was where is that? I believe it was up here somewhere, around this edge, right here, that I was looking to take shorts from. And came here. I wasn't able to get in any entries, just because I wasn't there. Normally I'll do my pre-market the evening before, and then some lower time frame stuff around 4 leading up to the session, since I wake up at 4:30. Start at 4:30 and get some work done. Head to school around 7:50, and this is UTC -5, so Chicago time. But yeah, it's very hard to trade at school since there's so much stuff going on, so many distractions. But I'm not complaining because I'm just glad to get the opportunity to trade and to learn this business. But let's start with the TPO. First of all, we have this single print near the top. I'm just going to pull up some of my playbook and also my setups on a different chart. You can't see it, but I have it open. So I'm going to start with any value ledges, alright? And value ledges are just areas where price sharply drops off. On this particular TPO, there's not really much of very sharp drop-offs. This is something super minor here. And then we had this huge imbalance here. Eventually found balance lower here. So I'm going to start with this at the top here, single print. The high 52.13, which would be this high right here. So I'd consider this a end destination per se, as Merritt typically calls it. I'm not a part of his mentorship or his program. Merritt, if you see this, I love the opportunity, but nonetheless, this is a overall target that I have, or overall destination. Single prints typically get targeted a lot easier, or ran through a lot easier, and something with a huge tail behind it, something like this, or something like this. What else do we have here? Let me just take a look at my playbook. We have the weaker low, weak high here. Then also this down here. This is also considered, so I'd also consider this as being an overall destination. This is very neutral areas in price. So not a particular area where I'd look to trade off of per se, but they're just an area to keep in mind when price does reach that area. So on to the next. Markup price. This is around low 23.75. 23.75. Sorry, what? Low 123.75. Mark up this as the start of this huge imbalance here, and we ended this off around a high 64 3/4. 64 3/4, perfect. Sorry, what? 127. Yeah, 127. 123. Sorry, that should be at 154. 154. And this one should be at 127. And it's really funny because this looks like I'm marking up what a ICT trader would call a fair value gap. And they can trade similarly, but I don't trade his way. I trade my own way because I found edge with it. But yeah, we had this huge imbalance. And the thing is, most ICT traders, they just come here, look for a short. And I don't trade ICT. Don't come after me because I don't know what you guys do. But before, I've seen people just like take shorts from this. But you have to see the overall context. How price approaches. Does it accept lower price? Does it immediately reverse back to it? Does it come to it, break it? Does it accept higher price? Does it hold it? Does it come back and reject and head higher? These are all things that I'm gonna have to review and take a look at as price approaches and during the session as we come into it. Also, my data is delayed. I only use TradingView just for higher time frame. I use Tradovate for lower time frame, and this is on a demo account because I'm currently trading demo. Just getting as much practice as possible to really build up to a potential funded account later down the road. But as much practice as I can get is what I need. Next we have this. This is right around the point of control, which would be 11 3/4. 11 3/4 down to 10. There's that. We'll pop. This is a nice balanced bell curve here, and then it just kind of drops off here. So we know that likely if price breaks above this, right, and price holds it, or say price comes back here, it's going to get stuck down here. It's going to have a hard time rotating in this area. It's going to get stuck down here just because of the higher volume. But if we get a breakout here and like a fast breakout, tracement, something like that works perfectly. this can go. Alright, on to the next part. That, edge of that. So there's a few things up here. This is, get rid of this. But this is one potential area right here that I could take a look at. So from the high at 86 3/4 all the way to 90, 86 3/4, so good, all the way up to 90. Perfect. So this could be a potential bear level. I'd also include more up, so 85, 85. And this kind of lines up with my previous levels that I had the day earlier. But that's a level I like. With this huge imbalance that we had overnight, or sorry, during the day, we'll see what happens, but we're super close to this low. So overnight, I'm expecting this to get taken out. Like, we're just too close to it for people, or for market participants not to want to take it out. But if we come here and take this out, we'll just see what happens when it gets to here. Next, move on to this. So we have the high at 01 even, 01 even. And then low at around 90 1/4. Right about there. Move that up one. Perfect. That's another imbalance. That's the high. I like that. Next, the value area high and the value area low. Here's the value area high at 75 even. I'm gonna mark this down. And I'm also going to take note of the value area low, which is actually this low. So I'm just going to copy this here. Alright, I like that. Now, value ledges, key areas. We always want to see what price action gives us as it comes and approaches the level. We also want to see what happens when it gets to the level. We have our poor highs, poor lows. We have imbalances, single prints. They're just, here on the TPO you can see super low volume node here. So I would not be surprised if price filled at least the majority of this, if not the whole thing, and we continued higher. But, and let me think. Yeah, just due to the low volume and low number of contracts that were traded in and throughout this area, not a very popular place. Yeah, and so these, I'm going to plot a few possible scenarios for tomorrow that I think would be good. So first one is very unlikely, is we hold the value area low overnight, and we get a push up. The first target would be this level here, or overnight we get a push down, a lot more likely, get a push down, a break below it. We get a push down, a break below the value area low, and this poor low. If we can see price accepting lower prices, something like this, I'd consider getting in short here, looking, at least finding a short bias in and around this area, and then confirming it with order flow, watching the DOM, depth of the market, reading the tape, and also watching the cumulative delta to see who's in control at this level, and just the absorption that happens at this, in and around this area. Third, is a continuation of this. We break this, and we get acceptance. And then we target this next area. Remember, this is not what I think is going to happen. This is simply what I'd like to see happen at each levels. I don't hope for price to do this, but this is what I want to see happen at a price level. If price doesn't do this, I'm not going to take a trade. This is my criteria for taking a trade. It has to be a good setup. It can't be a bad setup, because if we're taking bad setups, you're going to lose most of the time. And then also with this, either we get... let me continue on with this. Likely the overnight session will do a little play around here, might expand a bit, but very unlikely that it just stays in this range the whole night. But in case it does, this is what I'd like to see happen at this level once you reach it. This would be the next target, the value area low, and also this poor low. Second hypothesis for this is it comes here, we reject, and we go lower. This is the new target. Now for this imbalance is we see a pop above it, we hold this level, right? We hold this level, we come back to it, retrace. This is my next target, the value area high, the imbalance high that we see here, this last single print. That is my overall target, the fill of this imbalance. The next hypothesis, if price comes here, is, that's not what I wanted to do. Is we get a rejection from here. If we get this rejection, this is my next target down here. If we don't get this rejection and we break higher, boom, same thing. And then my next target being the value area high. And then these upper levels, I doubt we go that high, but if we do go that high, I want to see this happen. Next, I also want to see if price comes here, breaks this level. This could be another target, or come back here, and then we short it. I'd actually consider if we see something like this where we don't hit this target, either you can take a long off of this, back into here, short here, target this again. Now this looks like a lot, but these are just, it may seem like a lot to you, but it works well in my head. I can see what I want to see happen at each level, and it really just helps me get a deeper understanding of what's going on. For news tomorrow, I don't believe there's much, because I can only trade between market open till the first 30 minutes of the session, which is kind of unfortunate just because of school. School starts at 9 a.m. I'm at school at 8:30. So I hop on the bus at 7:55, do pre-market work on the bus on my phone. And the thing is, it sucks because I have to trade off my phone, which does not make this feel very it's just much much harder to do, especially with all the distractions that I mentioned earlier. But this is my overall plan for tomorrow. Um, we'll see how the overnight develops. I'll be up tomorrow at 4:30 a.m. Continuing to add on to this if we see something overnight that develops and imbalance up that fills this. We could get a rotation down or a break of this to go lower. But overall, this is what I'd like to see happen. You can take a screenshot of this. I don't get paid for this. I'm just trying to get people to my channel, you know. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'd also like to take a look at, if you want, my TPO. I just use a Tradeovate TPO. It's pretty simple. They give you free data or level 2 data. So if you just go into application settings, look for add-ons, and you activate order flow and advanced charting, they'll give you all of this cool stuff for free that you would normally have to pay a lot of money for. And being 15 years old in high school, you know, paying $150, I used to pay $250 a month for a Sierra chart, and that basically completely wiped out my bank account. So, and Sierra wasn't, it was alright, but not I do much better with Tradeovate, which is just simpler, and using TradingView. I also have Jigsaw Day Trader, which is super super helpful. It's an amazing platform. I use Notion for tracking all my setups. I have my playbook here and go over everything that I like to see happen. I have a success plan. I have a daily journal. Everything in here has a purpose, and that purpose is to help me become an elite trader. And if anybody sees this who wants to give me an opportunity or wants to help me out, feel free to reach out to me in the comments or something like that. And yeah, this is the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed watching, and hope you have a great session tomorrow morning.